Hello, and welcome to The Banker's Tech Talk video series. I'm Joy Macknight, Deputy and Technology Editor at The Banker, and I'm joined by Michael Sollitt, Chief Innovation Officer at LQID, a new challenger bank and social marketplace. Thanks so much for joining us, Michael. So what do you think are the biggest challenges that incumbent banks face today?
Okay, Joy, I think there's two things. I think there's relevance to the customer and there's business model. So relevance to the customer, at LQID we see that there's dramatic changes coming. The way that people work, the way that people shop, the way that people interact with each other. And all of these things are driven by technology. And that change that's coming is going to change the balance of power. So rather than a few large businesses and some small segments of premium customers having the influence, it will be the mass market customer and the small to medium enterprise owners that will have the influence. And that change coming is quite ironic really, because the customers love the technology, they love the tools, they love the devices. But the more they use it and the more connected they become, the more isolated they become. And the challenge for the large organisations is, rather than become huge global organisations and disconnected from the customer, withdrawing from the high street, they actually need to get closer to the customer and address their business model, which is challenges around the cost, the revenue, and the reward for the stakeholders.
Okay, because you set yourself up as a challenger bank or a neobank and things, so how are you disrupting the incumbents?
Okay, so disruption, I kind of don't really like to use that word because that's unruly and troublesome. And I don't think our industry needs that right now. It needs more of a collaborative approach and a more of a solution-based and better outcomes approach. But we see ourselves as challenging the status quo. So we've done an awful lot of research. We've been applying for a license in the UK, and during that process, which is understandably and for good reason a lengthy process, but we've spent that time to talk to customers, and we understand the challenges that they have and the frustration of those particular segments. And the key issue for them is not to be more and more digital totally. So some solutions are app only and digital only. The customers in the market we're after are looking at a convergence and almost how you fuse together the physical and the digital solutions. And so that's what we need to provide, and we believe that we can give a better human experience using technology.
Okay, and you talked a little bit about small and medium-sized enterprises. What sort of innovative solutions are you delivering to them?
Okay, so it's probably a little bit early for us to talk about specific features, and for small to medium-sized businesses, they're not really looking for quirky features. They're looking for how do you help them achieve their objectives, and more about the experience that they have with your organisation. So it comes back to our insight around people want access to people as well as great technology. So yes, we will give them a faster way of opening an account. It's not acceptable that it takes up to 2 weeks to open an account for a small business. It should happen in a few minutes. It's not acceptable that if you want to talk to somebody for some guidance, you have to wait until 2 weeks next Wednesday to get an appointment. We think you should have access at a time that suits you and a place that suits you.
Okay, and I know LQID has sort of innovative ideas around branches, bank branches. What do you think the bank branch of the future will look like?
Okay, so bank branches, if you ask me what's the most exciting thing of working for LQID, I would say to you it's having the opportunity to design our new branches. We absolutely think that the branch needs to stay on the high street, and it needs to stay where people are. And we will bring technology to make it easier for people to interact in a branch. It'll be a very simple structure, a very simple building, probably much smaller than your conventional branch. But we're really excited about the new branches, and I'm looking forward to delivering them soon.
Okay. My last question is really around sort of marrying the world of banking with the world of shopping in a marketplace. How does LQID do that?
Okay, so and marketplace to me is It can be a confusing area, I think. So if you look at marketplaces when people launch them, it's generally an area on an app or on an online service that allows a business to cross-sell or to link you to third parties so that they can generate an income. That's not what we see as a marketplace. If you go back in history, there's always been people buying and there's always been people selling. And a marketplace is somewhere where those two groups came together. And when they come together, they're able to communicate and connect. And banks came along to help those small businesses, help them to build their businesses, strengthen the businesses, and help the consumers to save and maybe they can buy things in the future. That's what we see as a marketplace, and we're going to bring a digital version of that forward. So we connect buyers and sellers. We make it easier for them to shop, to sell, to build a community of similar and like-minded people.
Excellent. Thank you so much for your insights, Michael.
Okay, thank you, Joy.